First and foremost, I got a 2.3 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which is the lowest ever for a Disney princess movie.
You are being led like sheep by this flock mentality of attacking the remake. But have you watched the movie? Weird.
Press reviews that are rolling in are just brutal. And people are going as far as thinking that the movie is going to get pulled early from theaters because they're not selling any tickets. And the world is really pointing fingers at Rachel Zegler for all of this.
Rachel Zegler didn't make a post, unfollow anyone, or release a statement. She simply disappeared. No explanations, no drama, just silence. Her sudden absence left fans puzzled, with no clues or closure. It wasn't a grand exit. It was quiet, almost ghost-like. One day she was there, the next—
Not to add fuel to the Rachel Zegler Oscar fiasco, but why did they have these women, all Disney princesses, all stated as Disney princesses, come out to present, but not include Rachel Zegler, who's going to be Snow White? They're clearly acknowledging Disney princesses for movies that have not been released yet. Someone must have had this conversation and then they purposely left her out, even though she was the only one with a hit movie this year of the four. Did anyone else notice this, or am I overthinking?
Rachel Zegler didn't disappear from social media. She's still technically online, but where it mattered most, Disney Plus, the platform meant to cement her legacy as Disney's newest princess, she vanished, quietly, without warning. That it wasn't a glitch. Fans noticed something was off. First, the Snow White tile was gone, not listed, not coming soon, no trailer, no banner, no cast info. Then it got stranger. Rachel's entire Disney Plus actor profile disappeared. No credits, no photo, not even a placeholder, as if she'd never been part of Disney at all.
It sounds like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans.
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
What began as a few screenshots on Reddit quickly spiraled into a full-blown online meltdown. People checked their own Disney Plus accounts, compared regions, searched the app, and the results were the same everywhere. Snow White wasn't just missing, it looked like it was being deliberately buried. And here's what made it even stranger. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The movie had already been released in theaters. Controversial or not, Disney had every reason to put it on Disney Plus. That's where most films get a second life after their box office run. A digital release was expected until suddenly, it wasn't.
This is just pathetic. Look at this right here. Snow White scraps up a measly $12 million in opening day box office. Could have a worse weekend than The Marvels and Dumbo. Now, if you guys didn't know, The Marvels and Dumbo is the bottom of the shit pile when it comes to box office for Disney. Those movies lost Disney hundreds of millions of dollars, and it looks like Rachel Zegler's Snow White movie is headed in that direction. And look at this right here. Even mainstream media is calling out this movie for being garbage. Look at this right here. Woke flop Snow White could see one of Disney's sleepiest opening weekends. Listen, this movie made like $2 million on Thursday, right? Which is the previews day. Usually this is where when people come out and they go see your movie, you're supposed to have a higher number than 2 million. But bro, this movie is not going to make more than $46 million opening weekend, which is a disaster for Disney.
Suddenly, Disney hit the brakes. No announcement, no press release, just silence and disappearing tiles. Snow White vanished without explanation, leaving fans stunned. Now, one question echoes across the internet. Did Disney just cancel their own princess? A quiet erasure of what was meant to be a defining legacy.
The Rachel Zegler effect has begun. According to scooper Daniel RPK, Rachel Zegler has been recast in Paddington 3 due to strikes, but I have a sneaking suspicion the strikes are only a cop-out for the fact that she has had so much negative press. She is certainly one of the key reasons why the Snow White movie is absolutely doomed. She's probably one of the key reasons why the next Hunger Games movie is gonna totally flop. And now the folks that are making the third Paddington movie are probably just using the strikes as an excuse to make sure that she's recast. Because I think if they outwardly said, well, we recast her because she just ruins everything she touches, that might not be a good look from the studio. But my speculation is that is actually what's going on here.
Let's be real, when the very studio that launched you starts quietly wiping you from its platform, it's not just a bad sign, it's a digital execution. No headlines, no statements, just silent deletion. So what pushed Disney to do it? What happened behind the scenes to make them bury Snow White so completely? And more importantly, is this just the beginning? Not just the erasure of a film, but of Rachel Zegler herself, her connection to the Disney brand, her role as a modern princess, her presence in their legacy. What comes next might finally reveal the full story behind the silence.
This thing has to be really, really bad. I mean, the critics were looking for any excuse to give it a high score. They know that conservatives don't like Rachel Zegler. Like, even they couldn't find a way to pretend that this piece of trash is anything but a piece of trash. And just to show you how trashy this is, here's a clip of Rachel Zegler performing a song from the film, apparently.
They say all you have to do, true, is let it echo. Your voice will carry.
Most generic, reheated pop music slop imaginable. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. So a truly bad song with some bad life advice on top of it.
This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Snow White was meant to be Rachel Zegler's crowning moment, her biggest role yet. A billion-dollar legacy reboot, a Disney princess reimagined for a new generation. But from the moment the first trailer dropped, the project felt cursed. It wasn't just the visuals or the creative direction drawing criticism, it was Zegler herself. Clips from her press interviews started going viral, but not in a good way. Her comments sparked backlash, shifting the spotlight from excitement to controversy, and turning what should have been a career-defining role into a lightning rod for criticism.
I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned. So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, like, what drew you to the material? Is that, like, I didn't realize that I was reading lines of Dopey. It said, like, Jeff and Amy were reading lines. And then our director, Mark Webb, on Zoom was like, you know, and then Dopey's gonna look at you and whistle. And I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
In one interview, Rachel Zegler laughed off the original Snow White story, calling it weird and joking that the prince was basically a stalker. In another, she confidently declared that her version of the character wouldn't be dreaming about love or chasing a happily ever after. And in a third, she admitted she had never liked the original 1937 film, saying she hated the story as a kid and promising that the remake would be nothing like the classic version. That was all the internet needed. The clip spread like wildfire across social media, igniting backlash from Disney fans, film purists, and casual viewers alike. What was meant to be a modern take on a beloved fairy tale quickly became a symbol of what many saw as Hollywood's disconnect from its own legacy. Zegler's comments, intended to promote a fresh, empowered version of the character, instead came across too many as dismissive, even disrespectful. Critics accused her of mocking the role she was chosen to honor. The tone shifted, and so did the narrative. What should have been her breakthrough moment was now overshadowed by controversy, resentment, and a growing movement to reject the film before it even hit theaters.
You know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Suddenly, woke Snow White was trending. Boycotts were being organized. The same Disney fans who once celebrated Rachel Zegler's Cinderella-style rise to fame turned on her overnight, and it didn't. Stop there. TikTok was flooded with edits mocking her interviews and attitude. On Twitter, users posted side-by-side comparisons of Zegler and Adriana Casaletitha, original 1937 Snow White voice actress, highlighting just how far Disney had strayed from its roots. The tone was no longer one of excitement, but frustration, even betrayal. So when the film finally hit theaters, the backlash had already taken its toll.
We covered woke Snow White, no
hard.
longer white, snow taupe, snow beige, snow swarthy, snow's not swarthy. Some kind of sediment or sand that is no longer blanc. This young woman just explained the far more egregious changes to the story than the casting of this out-of-place actress.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White
That is
not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
This is the central feature of the movie, is that it's a movie about love, and that she is reawoken by love. They're taking the love out of it. No, it's not about Prince Charming and love anymore. It's about what a girl boss she is. Because that's what little girls dream of. They dream of being a girl boss.
Critics called it lifeless, preachy, and weirdly smug. Audiences didn't show up, and the box office numbers crashed not just in the US, but globally. Snow White was dead on arrival. End Rachel Zegler. She went from being the face of Disney's next era to the face of its biggest disaster since the Mulan remake. Some blamed the script, others blamed Disney's leadership, but most of the backlash landed squarely on Zegler's shoulders. In the court of public opinion, it wasn't just a bad movie, it was a movie that insulted its own legacy. And Zegler was the one holding the mic when it happened. Disney had a mess on its hands, and while the dust was still settling, the company made a move no one expected, but that wasn't the end. When fans opened Disney Plus, they noticed something strange. Snow White was missing. At first it seemed like a delay. A few weeks passed after the theatrical release, and people started asking, when is it coming to Disney Plus? Normally, Disney's big-budget films, even flops, hit the platform quickly. Streaming is the second chance, the soft landing. But Snow White never arrived. No official release date, no homepage banner, no trailer, nothing. Even the tile some fans had seen listed under coming soon was suddenly gone. No preview, no watchlist button. It was as if the film had never been scheduled for release at all. Then it got weirder. Rachel Zegler's Disney Plus actor profile had vanished too. You know, the hub page that lists an actor's appearances across all Disney content. Her name gone, her photo gone, her filmography scrubbed clean. Reddit lit up overnight. Fans posted before and after screenshots showing that Zegler had been removed from the actor index entirely. In some regions her page still appeared, but clicking it led to blank redirects or broken links just like that. The Disney princess was being digitally erased. Even if the movie flopped, it still existed. So why hide it? Why erase Zegler? No press release, no statement, just silence. When major entertainment blogs reached out to Disney for comment about Rachel Zegler and the recent strange disappearances around her projects, they were met with silence. No clarification, no statements, just silence. This silence only deepened the confusion, turning it into suspicion. Was Disney quietly pulling the plug on her career? Were they trying to erase both the film and its lead from public memory? If so, what were they protecting? This wasn't just damage control, it was erasure. The story started to unravel with a single post on Reddit from a Disney Plus subscriber. They shared two screenshots, one from a month earlier showing Rachel Zegler's actor page on Disney Plus, and a current one where it had completely vanished. Initially, fans thought it might be a glitch or an app update, but as more users checked, the same pattern emerged across regions. In the US and Canada, her profile was missing or redirected to blank pages. In Europe, her profile lingered briefly before disappearing entirely. What's more alarming is it wasn't just her profile that disappeared. Her name was scrubbed from cast listings, her photos replaced by generic promotional images or left blank. This led to wild fan theories. Some believed Disney was shadow deleting her to avoid backlash. Others speculated this was an intentional quiet dissociation, a corporate PR tactic where a problematic figure is gradually erased without public fanfare. For Disney, a company obsessed with brand protection, this theory didn't seem far-fetched. Questions quickly flooded in. Why was Rachel's profile vanishing while other underperforming or controversial projects remained fully listed? Why were her credits being quietly removed with no official announcement? And if this wasn't punishment, then what was it? The timing made it even more suspicious. Around the same time Rachel was disappearing from Disney Plus, rumors spread that she'd fired her entire team, her manager, agent, publicist. It wasn't just Disney erasing her. She was wiping herself clean. Fans wondered, was this a meltdown, or was Disney quietly pushing her out? This situation didn't align with the usual Disney approach. Even their worst flops, some surrounded by controversy, remain on Disney Plus with their stars credited. But not Rachel Zegler. Now the question shifted from what happened to why is no one talking about it? The deeper fans dug. The clearer it became, someone didn't want her name to be there anymore. This isn't Disney's first time quietly erasing a controversial figure. In 2020, when Gina Carano sparked outrage with her social media posts, Disney didn't just fire her from The Mandalorian, they removed her from all marketing, pulled merchandise, and omitted her from official statements. No press conferences, no public farewells, just silence and a clean sweep. It now feels like Rachel Zegler is being handled the same way, only without the public spectacle. For Disney, silence is a strategy. They don't argue or defend. Instead, they reposition and wait for the news cycle to move on, burying the controversy 6 feet under. Fans have dubbed this the softest cancellation in Disney history. No headlines, no trending hashtags, just a missing profile and an invisible movie. The playbook is simple. Let the controversy explode. Wait without comment. Quietly scrub association, then shift attention to safer, newer projects. Right now, instead of promoting Snow White on Disney+, the platform is pushing animated sequels, live-action remakes with safer leads, and nostalgic content that doesn't spark online outrage. In today's world of viral outrage, corporate survival means creating distance. When a project becomes too toxic, the safest move is to pretend it never existed. This raises a painful question. Is Rachel Zegler the first Disney princess to be quietly being removed from Disney Plus without any public comment is no small matter. It's not just about the film, it's about the message. We are moving on without you. And if you think this is the end of it, look to Broadway, where Rachel's other major project, her debut in Evita, started unraveling at the exact same time. Initially, Evita was supposed to be a comeback, a chance for Rachel to prove herself in one of the most demanding roles on stage. For a while, it seemed to work. Headlines softened, and fans were curious. Then the leaks started. Backstage sources began whispering about chaos, heated rehearsals, emotional meltdowns, clashes with the production team. Crew members reportedly walked out, others were reassigned. An insider described the rehearsal environment as toxic. The breaking point came when a leaked document, allegedly from the show's director, described Rachel as uncoachable, volatile, and emotionally erratic. Suddenly, Broadway forums and gossip columns exploded, drawing direct comparisons. Between Evita and Snow White, not just in tone but in outcome, the pattern was impossible to ignore. A high-profile role, media backlash, industry isolation, and complete silence. Rachel Zegler went from rising star to cautionary tale. To make matters worse, news broke that she had fired her entire professional team. No manager, no agent, no publicist, no longtime collaborators, no statements, no replacements, no clear plan, just gone. Some insiders suggest she wants to rebrand herself with a fresh image and a tighter team. Others say this is a meltdown, a scorched earth reaction fueled by humiliation, pressure, and loss of control. Either way, one thing is clear. She is alone, no studio backing, no team managing her, no platform promoting her. And with both her major projects crashing down simultaneously, her silence only worsens perceptions. Fans watch every missing profile, every deleted page, every quiet cancellation. Fair or not, the perception is growing. Rachel Zegler isn't just struggling, she's being erased. But is this fallout from failed projects, or something bigger? Disney doesn't tolerate messes, unpredictability, or risks. When a star becomes a liability, especially tied to a billion-dollar legacy like Snow White, the response isn't loud, it's surgical. Industry insiders whisper of reshoots, rebranding, and alternate cuts of Snow White that downplay or remove Rachel's role entirely. One rumor even claims Disney filmed backup scenes with a stand-in, preparing for worse backlash. It sounds extreme, but Disney has done stranger things, digitally replacing actors, editing scenes, post-release, pulling content without warning. Nothing is off the table. Another possibility is that Disney will simply let the film rot. No updates, no promotion, no explanations, just pretend it never existed. Let the algorithm bury it. Let time erase it. This quiet exit strategy avoids lawsuits, PR disasters, and fan outrage. No announcement, no headline, no controversy. Some fans speculate Disney may eventually recast Snow White entirely, animated or live action. They've done it before with other franchises. Star Wars, Marvel, Pirates of the Caribbean. Given how this version was received, a reset wouldn't be surprising. But the most telling part, Rachel's silence. No apology, no defense. No thank you to fans or castmates. In Disney's carefully crafted PR world, every post is calculated. every statement manicured. Her silence is deafening. It screams that something is happening behind the scenes that no one wants discussed. Disney doesn't need to fire you publicly, to erase you. All they need is for people to forget you ever existed. Rachel Zegler didn't disappear overnight. There was no public firing, no viral meltdown. What's happening is far scarier. A slow erasure, piece by piece. Decision. Disney Plus no longer promotes Snow White. Her actor profile is gone. Fan searches lead to broken links and blank pages. The studio that once branded her as the future face of Disney won't even acknowledge her name. Outside the platform, things look no better. Her Broadway comeback collapsed in chaos. Her team fired, and her voice silent. And here's the hardest truth. No one is stepping in to stop this. No co-stars defending her. No publicists managing damage control. No official statements pretending to support her. Just silence. In this business, controversy is survivable, and failure can be forgiven. But when your brand becomes a liability to a bigger brand, that's when the quiet eraser starts. That's what we're seeing now. Rachel Zegler went from rising star to warning label. From the future of Disney to a name no one says out loud. No fanfare, no farewell, just deletion. And if that sounds harsh, remember, Disney built its empire on perfect images and flawless illusions. When those illusions crack, they don't fix them, they replace them. What happens next? Will Rachel return with a new team, speak out, and reclaim her narrative? Or will her name fade into Disney's long history of forgotten stars? Only time will tell. But if the Disney Plus blackout is any indication, the fairy tale is over, and the happily ever after quietly cancelled.